Hey folks, so today I'm going to tell you a story about my first startup. So maybe if you follow me here, you already know that I tried a first startup that failed, but today I'm going to tell you why that happened and the key lesson that you can take away from it, okay? So just a little bit of context. So it was 2017, I was ready to quit my job at Google. I was spending like 5 years working at Google, and then I really decided to had my chance to start my own business. It was has always been my dream to do that. So I quit my job. Then I spent around like 3 months doing the transition for the role that I was working for. And then I left my job at Google so I could start my first startup. So my first startup was a platform for employee referral inside companies, right? So if you work in a company and you refer a new candidate to a certain job role and that candidate is hired, then you can get a commission, you can get a bonus for that referral, okay? So that was basically it. And actually, I got that idea from Google because Google does a lot of their hiring through referrals. But anyway, I was ready to do that. Already have started to develop the concept of the two, but the HR department, the HR market was totally new to me. I've never worked for like HR, so before really launch my two, I wanted to talk to some folks on the area, some like key people that could, at least give me some insights or maybe validate my whole idea. Okay, so I scheduled my first conversation with a HR director for a big bank on my market. Okay, so I went to have this cup of coffee with that person, and then of course I started to talk more about my idea, the whole concept of the idea, and the feedback was good. It wasn't awesome, it wasn't great, but it was good. But I guess that I was at a point that I just needed to hear something good from my idea so I can get it validated, right? So I was just waiting for that, and I got that. I got a validation, but it was actually not a validation. But anyways, I left the meeting very excited. I moved forward and I launched the company. Okay, I launched the tool by September 2017. Okay, but first, this is like my first mistake here was that I only talked to one key person on the HR department. Okay, it was a big role, it was a big professional at the time, it was an HR director for a big company, but it was just one. Okay, so that was my first and one of the biggest mistakes. I should have talked to at least 10 different people from different companies and from different positions, right? HR directors, HR managers, and other similar roles as well. But I just talked to one person. And then that person, and that is my second mistake, that person didn't actually validate the entire concept, the entire idea, right? She just gave me a thumbs up. She just gave me, okay, go for it. Like, I think it's nice. I think it's going to work. So go for it. And again, I was at a point that I just needed that. I was actually waiting for that, right? So I got that, and then I moved forward and I launched the company. I launched the two, right? So, and then once I had the first MVP or the product ready, I emailed that same person say, okay, so the product is ready. Like, are you open to try it out on your company? Like, are you open to be like the first beta tester for this tool? And she didn't move forward. So that was a big disappointment, of course, because I was really hoping that she could be my first customer. She could be my first beta tester. So we didn't move forward, and she wasn't my first customer. So again, the first mistake is that I didn't talk to a lot of people. Second mistake is that that person didn't actually validate my idea. To validate an idea, in the ideal world, the person needs to transfer some money, right? Because that's when the idea is actually validated. Because until you spend money on something, you are not actually believing on that something, right? So you are not validating that whole idea. So that was like a big mistake on my startup. So of course, then once I launched the product, once I launched the tool on the market, it started to get a little bit of traction, but not that much, right? So I spent, I would say, like a year and a half trying to find product market fit for my tool, for my SaaS, but I could never find it. Okay, so I spent a lot of time trying to do that, a lot of time trying to push that product into a market that wasn't ready for that. And of course, that was maybe my second big mistake. So I tried to push it harder. I tried to push it very hard on the market, but the market wasn't ready for it. I couldn't find my product market fit. So my mistake here is that first I launched the product, and then I tried to find a product market fit. And then I tried to get traction on my product. So I had already spent a lot of money, a lot of time developing that tool. But now I had a product that didn't have a great market for it. So I spent 1 year and a half doing that. I spent 1 year and a half, tried to hire some people, tried to really make it work, but it simply didn't work. Okay, so and after 1 year and a half, and actually like my first startup, look, that startup actually was a good thing because that led me to my second startup, which was also on the HR market, but a totally different product. But I could never maybe thought about my second product, my second startup, if it wasn't for the first one, right? So even with a failure, that led me to a success because my second startup was a big success, and I was able to sell the business 2021, and I was able to exit the company. So it was a big exit for me, it was a big success for me. And that second startup happened because of the first one, because of the failed first startup that I had, right? So right now, every time that I'm thinking about like launching something or thinking about different ideas, the first thing that I'm always trying to do is to validate the idea first with many different people to get the validation that I needed, right? Especially if I can validate with money, because that's when you actually validate your idea. So if you are trying to launch a product, if you are thinking about launching a SaaS, an e-commerce, any kind of business, actually, first validate your idea before you spend your time and your money building something that you're not quite sure about the market need for that. So that was my key takeaway from my first startup. And I hope this can help you with your company, with your business, with your idea, so you can have a better chance of success. And as always, if you want to have a better chance of success, scaling and growing your company, please click on the link down below so I can talk to you about how we can use automation and AI to help you scale your company. Thank you.